Futures trading is risky and can result in substantial financial loss.
First of all, thank you very much for coming. It's nice to see dedicated people. Friday night, when everyone should be getting pissed and having fun, you are here to learn about how to make money. This is really, really nice. It's nice to see that level of commitment, especially in Australia. When we talk about the OMNIs, we always talk about points. So when Oscar mentions dollars, because last week when he said $20, some people got a little bit confused. So apparently we are not from Wall Street. Okay, so we are not that we are not that level. But usually when he says, I'm going to try to make an effort today to talk in points. When he said $20 last time, because sometimes they say dollar, but for us we got used to talking always in points. Okay, when the index goes up and down, we always talk in points. So if you're here, you say dollars, $20, $50. Actually, it's 50 points, 20 points. Okay? Because I could see no one got excited when he said $20. but if it's 20 points and each point 5%, then it was exciting. Okay? Now, something else important, when we will show you about the trading platform that we'll be using from now, which is the OMNI app, it's very important, and we'll cover this in 2 weeks as well, but just to let you know that you have in your computer not Internet Explorer, but that you use the Mozilla Firefox browser. Because everything apparently on the website is designed to work with the browser, with the Mozilla Firefox. It's very easy, it's free, very easy to download it. And this was new, I learned this today with John, that if you don't have Java in your computer today, but also, I'm speaking Portuguese, just say it. Then you will need it, but apparently when you are downloading the trading platform, the computer will ask you, if you don't have it in your computer, it will ask you want to do it, and just to follow the prompt, and it's quite easy. Okay? Now this is very, very important, but this is really important. Today is Angela's birthday. Oscar, you're a rock star, you're a superstar. So to attract a crowd like this on a Friday night here, I'm telling you, you're a star. Okay, just now, let's just clap your hands here for Oscar.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. By a show of hands, how many traders are in the room, or people who would like to learn how to trade? Okay, so just about everybody here. Well, that's a very good thing. You know, let me start off with something. I've been doing YouTube videos to help traders learn how to trade for a little over a year now. It was maybe a 5 or 7 minute video, and it was to help traders who I didn't know, but I just thought I'd put one out at the request of a nephew of mine who was actually doing a college report. And I stamped my feet and I said, absolutely not, I'm not going to do a video, no way, I'm not going on YouTube. And 2 weeks later, I put out a video. Well, that morning, well, the very next morning, I looked into my email inbox, and there were 50 emails from strangers around the world saying, that was fantastic, could you please do us another one? I scratched my head and said, well, that's interesting. So I did another one the next evening. And there was probably 50 or 60 more emails from people I've never heard of before. So I've done one just about every evening since. And the reason why I continued to do them, and then of course I created a website, was that I was getting what I'd like to call horror stories, emails from people who had said they've gone to seminars and paid $8,000 for this program and $5,000 for that. And to be honest, there's not a real lot of good programs out there, because if there were, they wouldn't sell them to you. They would use them to trade and make millions of dollars, and no one would ever have access to them. So they've made money by convincing you that you can make money with a very sophisticated program, which they've probably never used to begin with. And that's the way it seems to work. And I couldn't stand listening to these horror stories. So I said, okay, for all you people who are following my YouTube, I'm going to start a site. Come to the site every day, and I'll help instruct, and I'll teach people how to trade. So with that, I would like to show you one of the recent videos I've done, maybe last week or the weekend before. It's called the Weekend Webinar. I try to do a long video every weekend, and then a kind of shorter one every evening. I have a sort of a program. I do a video at night, which tells you about trading for the very next day, where we'd like to buy, where we would like to sell, and the reasoning behind that. Then you come to my website, and the night before, of course, because we don't try to tell you what happened yesterday. We want to tell you what you can possibly make money with tomorrow. So at the website, you will find a recommendation each day, And there are many other great things at the site that can really help you. But for now, I'd like to show you this video. It's instructive, it's informative, it will convince you that technical analysis is absolutely a roadmap to figuring out where the markets will go next. So, Hector, if you wouldn't mind, if you can show the video, it's about 30 minutes, so, but I think you'll find it entertaining and worth sitting through. So take a look at the video and then I'll come and I'll explain the site.
Futures trading is risky and can result in substantial financial loss.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, traders, and welcome to Short-Term Trading Live with Oscar's weekend webinar. This is the weekend webinar for 01-12-08. See, I used the double digits there.
Thank you.
And we have a lot to discuss in this webinar. We're going to cover a few topics here. Fundamentals illustrated in the charts first. I've done videos about this before. I've mentioned this to you many times. I've held up a chart and I've said there's a big fundamental coming out this week. There are certain weeks I don't even know what that fundamental bit of news is, but I'll show you a chart and tell you something big's going to happen. And we have been 100% right on calling a big piece of news coming out through the charts. Whether we call the direction right or not is a different story. We've been lucky with a lot of that. But the point is that you can see news coming out in the charts first. And we will discuss that. Next topic, we will discuss underpriced sectors. Right now, the CRB index is through the roof, and most of the commodity sectors have doubled in price at least since 2005 to 2006, if you pull up a weekly chart. Between the 2005 and 6 basing area and today, many commodities have doubled in price. Metals, we all know they've doubled in price minimum. Oils, what do you say about $100 oil? I mean, $100 crude is just more than doubled in price. I think in the beginning of my studies this week for the weekend webinar, oil was probably trading in the low 30s when I started the studies between 2005 and 6. And now in 2008, you're about at 100. The financials, the bonds, the currencies, the financial instruments, we all know how pricey they've gotten recently. The grains through the roof. There are two sectors, that's all I can find, are two sectors out there that are not overpriced yet. And I'll tell you this, the fund managers out there who are buying expensive grain, expensive metal, and expensive oil and have already gone through the financials are certainly going to be looking now at the softs and the meats, because they are the only commodities left that I can find that are largely traded, the big commodities out there that the big fund managers will trade, and that all of us OMNIACs trade, are the softs and the meats. And I have a lot of charts I want to show to you that will illustrate my point. We will also talk about how technical analysis works. In fact, I'll mention a bit of it now and then I'll show it to you again on charts. On Thursday night, I did a video, and I stated in that video that look at the wheat traders. I put up a wheat chart with some averages, and I said there's a big piece of news coming out on Friday, the crop report. The technical analysis tells us that that crop report has no choice but to be bullish unless we don't know how to read technical analysis. Lo and behold, Friday morning, report comes out, and the wheat goes limit up. That came right out of the chart. And that is the technical analysis working for you. On top of that, I held up a chart of the S&P. And both of those charts, the wheat and S&P, I'll do again for you. And I said, the S&P needs to be sold. I said it right here in this video. The S&P needs to be sold in the mid-1420s and expect support at 14,0050. The high of the day is 1423.5. The low of the day is 14,0025. 14,0025, we called for 14,0050. Traders, there's only one way I can come up with that. I have no crystal ball. You know I tell you that all the time. That's because technical analysis really works. And anyone that tells you differently You make them watch these videos, and you sit down with a chart, and you point out some of the techniques that we've taught you here at the OMNI Trading Academy, and you prove to them that they are wrong, like I try and do every night on these videos. Traders, I tell you from the bottom of my heart, I have studied this for years and years. Technical analysis works better than any other form of analysis I have ever studied. Next, market tops and bottoms. We're going to cover market tops and bottoms, or at least the activity that begins to take place when you're pretty much sure that a market is reaching the top of its life of a run. Let's say you've had a good bull run for a long time, and suddenly some things start to happen that make the markets finally cool off and start to turn the other way. Or you've had a bear run and something happens in the economy that makes the market start to go back up. Well, lots of things happen that will make markets turn, but there are signals, there are things, events that take place, and some of them are simple to follow, and we will discuss that, and they almost always tell you that this is the year that the market will change complexion, and we'll talk about that. So, we got the fundamentals. Always come out in the charts first. I will illustrate that in the chart next and show it to you. Underpriced sectors being the meats and the softs. Technical analysis really does work. You'll see that in the next two charts coming up. And market tops and bottoms. I will give you a very simple clue, and I guess you could call it a cue, when you have to start looking for a potential bottom. Okay, traders, with no further ado, let me bring you these charts. Take a look at them. Make sure you pay attention to what I have to say, and then I'll come back to you and we'll discuss it. Okay, traders, what we're looking at is the same chart you've seen in Thursday night's video for Friday's trading, and that was the wheat daily bar ZWH8, the electronic market. I had mentioned that these two averages that we like to use at the OMNI Trading Academy, when they come together, you have a bull run. The next thing you know, they separate out. The market is in a nice bull run. When they separate, look at the drop. They come back together right here, and I announced on the video Thursday, I said, look at this chart, traders. Do you see what's happening here? These two averages have come together right below the market, right before a report's due to come out, and that tells me it's the technicals letting us know that the fundamental report that's about to come out is bullish. Lo and behold, what happens? The report comes out Friday morning, and we lock limit up plus 30 cents in the wheat. Traders, that came right off of the technicals. The fundamentals always come out in the charts first. I have tried to teach this so many times, and so many of my Omniacs get it now, and they absolutely believe it, and I want you to believe it, traders. This is just one more example of the dozens and dozens of examples we have shown you since we started doing these classes on YouTube. On top of that, look at this. We're about to break out of an apex. So you have an apex, the bottom was tested, the averages come together, the market looks sharp right here, and then the fundamental piece of news comes out to make the analysis correct. You cannot argue with the fact that fundamentals come out in the charts first. Okay, traders, the next thing I wanted to mention, which I spoke about briefly a moment ago, is that technical analysis really works well. That last chart is showing you two things that we chart. It showed you that technical analysis absolutely works and that fundamentals come out in the charts first. This chart is the S&P, the exact same chart I pulled on Thursday evening for Friday's trading. And off this chart, using technical analysis, using different indicators and trend lines, we came up with being able to sell the market in the 1420s and expect support at 1400.50. The market traded to 1423.5, turned around and dropped and stopped cold at 1400.25 and rallied all the way up to 1412, maybe 1413. That came right off the technicals, traders. I assure you technical analysis works. There are fundamentalists out there that will tell you it's hogwash, it's voodoo, it doesn't work, and I am here to prove to you that it is not only a self-fulfilling prophecy, it absolutely is a roadmap to where markets are going if you know how to listen to those markets. And one thing I will say is if you come on down to our site at www.liveatoscar.com and you join the ever-growing army of Omniacs that we have learning every day at our academy, you will find that I will teach these techniques to you, and you will see in not too long of a time that you can call fundamentals off the charts, and you can absolutely call with a decent amount of, kind of word here. Yes, accuracy. Thank you. With a decent amount of accuracy, you can absolutely call a day's range based on what you see technically. Okay, traders, so you've seen a couple of charts, and I'll tell you right now, you better pull up a chair because you've only seen a couple of the charts that I am going to show you in tonight's class. But those two charts, even though there were only two, they illustrate very well how fundamentals do come out in the charts first. And traders, believe me, that is a truth. There are, I can think of off the top of my head, 5 videos minimum out of our
257.
Out of our 257 videos, and probably more like 10, that I have stood in front of this camera and showed chart after chart and said, look at the fundamentals that come right out in the charts, and lo and behold, the news comes out that week to make the analysis work. So there is another example in the wheat chart of how fundamentals always come out in the charts first. Then, does technical analysis work? Well, you know what? That S&P chart I showed you, it is impossible to guess numbers like that. Technical analysis is a roadmap to help you get in and out of these markets. It will almost always give you some kind of a trading range that you can play within, whether you're a buyer or a seller in that range. That depends upon your system and how you handle the trading. But you can almost always determine about how high and low a market will go, barring a piece of news that comes out of the woodwork that nobody can ever pick up on. You know, something terrible, an attack from one country to another nobody knew was going to happen. You know, a natural disaster, something, a volcano coming out of nowhere. You know, there are certain things that you will never find in a chart. But if it is a fundamentally based piece of news, I assure you that it will come out in the charts first. Traders, next, we have to go take a look at a bunch of charts now because I am telling you that there are 2 sectors left that we may have a chance to buy if you're a long-term trader, if you're a fund manager. Well, let's do that again. Let's look at it this way. We're short-term traders. We need to know where the funds are going to put their money so that we can have a gauge how we should trade each day as a short-term trader, looking at the whole. Which direction will the markets go in as a whole? Then we can determine whether we're buyer of dips or seller of rallies throughout that move, whether it's up or down. So for us to know that, you need to look at the markets, the sectors of the markets, metals, oils, financials, grains, softs, meats. You have to look at them all, see where they are now relative to one another, and then see what's left out there that's underpriced. And I am not the only analyst doing this, I assure you. I expect that funds will be putting their money there next. Let's go look at some charts out, traders. I think you're going to love this. I'll talk to you in a moment. Okay, traders. These next series of charts are weekly charts on commodities that are absolutely overpriced. Well, not overpriced. That are absolutely priced correctly, but very expensive if you're just looking to get a fund into the market. Right off the bat, we're going to look at the wheat chart, the ZWH8 weekly. This chart was as low as about 300, maybe 299 back in 2005. And I made it simple. Right here is the point where the wheat doubled in price. It doubled in price between here and here. Look at how much further it's gone. If you had a fund and had to get into something that you hoped would go up, it'd be really difficult to look at this one and say there's a lot more coming, right? But there most likely is. It's one of the grains. But here's the point where it was, and it hovered for a long time sideways. It started to go, and at this point it doubled. It went to 550 That number's about 560-ish, somewhere around there, and that's where it doubled. That's the wheat. Let's look at more. Next chart we're going to look at is the March soybean weekly chart, the ZSH8. This is a weekly, don't forget, not a daily. Here's where we were back in 2005. At this point, we doubled in price. The market has now doubled in price. And look at how much further it's already gone. So we had wheat double in price, and now we've had soybeans double in price. Let's look at more. Next chart is the bean oil. Here, 2005. Here, we doubled. It doesn't even matter what the exact prices are, traders. We doubled in price. And if you're out there shopping, look how much further we went past double. If you have a big fund and you have to put it somewhere, here's another market that makes you go, I hope I'm not buying the top. I'm likely not buying the top because interest rates are going to continue to go lower, which is going to knock down our dollar, which is going to make oil go up, which is going to make gold go up, which is going to make the price of everything go up. So here's another example of a commodity that makes up the CRB index that has already doubled and more. It looks like it happened twice. On all three charts I've showed you already, they've almost tripled, but surely they've doubled. Let's look at more. Here's another chart. This is the soy meal. You've seen soybeans, wheat, bean oil. Now here's the meal. Back in 2007, this isn't even 2005. We have doubled from 2007 to 2008, and look at what we've done since. Here's another one that if you had to buy it, you know you're buying something that's very pricey. Yes, it could go up, but wouldn't it be better if you can grab a sector that hasn't gone that high yet? Let's see if there is one out there. Here's the oat charts. Traders, even oats have doubled. Cereal and horses, what else is it good for? Amazingly, even that has doubled. And look at how much past double. It's gone already. When it doubled, it was 240. It's now 336. And it looks like there's no end in sight. So grains certainly are not the sector to be in. They are the last sector that's finally gone of the main commodities being traded. Again, we mentioned metals, oils, financials, and now I'm showing you the grains. The other three have gone so high there's no sense in even showing you the charts. But take a look at these, and you can see that if you had a fund and you had to buy something again, it would have been great to buy it before the move, even before the second move. Are you brave enough to buy them up here? Well, maybe, but if you could go shopping in the commodity world and find something cheaper, wouldn't you buy that, being that inflation's coming our way and the price of gold and oil keep going up, driving the dollar down, driving the price of all commodities higher? I certainly would. Let's go shopping and see what there is out there to be purchased. Next on the block, traders, look what we have here. Corn. Back in 2006, trading below, well below 200. It doubled right up here at around the 375, 377 mark. Already doubled, and look at how much further it's gone. Another commodity that had you bought it here or even here, you might have been doing all right. Buying it up here is certainly more of a risk, albeit it should still go higher. But I'll repeat, wouldn't you like to get into a commodity that's much cheaper now, knowing that it should go higher? I'm sure there's some out there. I'm going to keep looking through these charts till I find something. Okay, traders, now we start looking at softs. Those were the grains. Look at the softs. We had coffee back in 2005 trading around 65 cents. It just barely doubled already. It's at 135.45, and you know what? Relative to those other commodities we looked at, and the oils, metals, and the financials, this is a cheaper market to purchase. If you were a fund manager, hey, this is only just doubling. Well, those other charts doubled and then took off more. This one just made its double mark. These red lines illustrate where it was and at what point it doubles. So I would say, hey, if I had to buy something, maybe throw a couple of bucks in coffee, right? It's one of the softs, and it's just barely doubled right here. Must have some room on the upside. Let's look if there's anything else to shop for. Cocoa. Back here, 2005, in between 2005 2006, was just under 13. Cocoa doesn't double until it hits 2,600. It wouldn't even fit on my chart. If I had to draw the red line, it's so high I can't get it on the screen. Cocoa hasn't doubled yet. Hey, interesting. Coffee just barely doubled. Cocoa hasn't even doubled yet. That may be a good candidate. So it looks like the softs are an underpriced sector. Let's look at more. The sugar market. 2005, we were just above 7. We did have a rally where it sort of went past double. This is the double line. But look at how far down it's come. And during this period right here where it went sideways, that's when all the grains and the financials really had their spike. So here's another soft. Doubling would be up here, just in between 14 and 15. This is an inexpensive commodity right now. So there are only 3 I've been able to find out of dozens that are relatively cheap, and they are in the softs arena. They are in the softs sector. So here is a place where I would imagine fund managers are going to want to look. On top of that, you have a really, really long apex. Well, that apex actually goes like this. You have an extremely big apex that we're just about to get out of. We're just now over the averages, and I think well underpriced, being that it's not even doubled like all the rest of the commodities have gone. So I think this sector is a good sector to look at. Let's look deeper into it. Okay, traders, now we're looking at a cotton weekly chart. Back in 2005, the cotton is below 35. If it doubles from here, it goes to 84.20. So I guess that puts it at 42.10, right? It was at 42.10 down here. It doubles at 84.20. That doesn't even fit on the chart. We're only trading 69 right now. Another market that is one of the few that are left that are just too cheap compared to the rest of the sectors. And again, we're above 3 of our favorite averages. That whole time we went sideways, look at the way the averages were all over each other. Now they've converged and the market's starting to run towards the upside. I am telling you, traders, these are the few markets that are left in commodities that are likely underpriced. These are supply and demand markets we're talking about now. Those are the ones that are truly the commodities that are traded based on what can be grown, how much has been purchased, how much is on order to be purchased, and what we have now. And then, of course, there's the amounts of buys and sells in the market. And the few markets you've just seen now would be the sugar, the cocoa, the coffee, the cotton. These markets are the only underpriced markets I can find, at least looking at what's doubled and what hasn't. This doesn't double till 84.20. I think it's cheap. Let's look for more. Okay, traders, next market we are looking at is Feb Live Cattle Weekly Bar. And in 2006, we were all the way down under 74. You know what it takes for this market to double? The price of 146.90. We are trading currently at 91. It is nowhere near double. It is one of the few left that needs to go higher to catch up with inflation, to catch up with the lowering of our dollar, and to catch up with the rest of the commodity sectors. The CRB is made up of all these commodities that we've looked at, and these are too cheap. These last half that I've shown you, I think are too cheap. Let's look further. Next, feeder cattle. We talked about the soft sector, and now we're talking about the meats. The feeder cattle, I tell you, is certainly cheap as well. We were all the way down here back in 2005, 2006. We were under 80. We are only now at 102, doubling 171.20. In order for that market to double, it would have to be $171.20. That must be an underpriced market. This one, however, is below the averages for now. So if you were buying it down here, you'd have to find a good technical reason other than these averages, and I'm certainly not the only thing that we use. That's one of dozens and dozens of indicators that we go over before we even consider purchasing or selling a market. But there are absolutely reasons why this is getting ready to break out one way or another as well. And if you had to make a choice and you had to put your money somewhere, would you want to put it in high-priced metals or high-priced grains? or the few commodities that are left that haven't doubled yet. I say if I'm a fund manager, I'm going for the lower price commodities. There's a whole lot more life likely in them on the upside than these already high-priced markets. Let's look further. Next chart is a weekly chart of pork bellies. Back between 2005 and 2006, we were trading below 55. We are only now at 84. The price for this to double would be 132.60. That doesn't even fit on the chart. All the markets that I have shown you except for coffee would not even be able to double on the chart that you can see in this video right now. The chart would have to be way higher for it to get to the spot where it doubles. Again, I ask you, if you were a fund manager, what would you be looking at right now? I would be looking at this stuff. That's why I am looking at it. So let's keep looking. I have another example to show you, and then we'll talk a little bit. Let's take a look further. Okay, traders, you are looking at the weekly CRB index, the basket of all the commodities that we just spoke about. They're all included in this index, and look at this weekly. It has more than doubled, just like all those other commodities. Within this lies the softs and the meats, coffee, sugar, cocoa, cotton. You have pork bellies, live cattle, feeder cattle. These are all markets that help to make up the CRB index, which have not doubled in price yet. I think we should go take a look at those markets, and I think that the reason I just showed you makes a lot of sense. Do your own homework on this, traders, and tell me what you think about it. But if I had to place a bet on where the big money is going to have to go next, it doesn't have a choice but to start to sprinkle it in those two sectors. Okay, traders, so you've seen the charts. Is that interesting? Do I know it will happen for sure? Well, you know what? If I did, I'd throw my kids on the street and sell the house right now and put it into those markets. I don't know for sure, but there's a pretty good guess on my part that I'm not the only guy looking at those sectors. I will say this, of all the commodities that we covered, analyzed, chart and trade, the softs and the meats are the only two I can find that haven't doubled in price. It's got to mean something, traders. It's got to mean that there's not enough money in those markets yet, but it will be coming. If you look across the board at that CRB, if you have your money sprinkled in all the different sectors that make it up, then somebody's missing the boat on the softs and the meats, in my opinion. All right, so far we've covered fundamentals are illustrated in the charts. They always come out in the charts first. We covered how technical analysis absolutely works. We covered the underpriced sectors, as you've just seen. Now let's talk a little bit about market tops and bottoms. Traders, I've been trading 26 years now. I have seen a lot of markets, both bull and bear, and I can say this is a clue I notice every time we are reaching the top of a big move or the bottom of a big move. And what you start to hear about is this. Not just these exact companies, but here's the type of chatter you hear. Bank of America buys CFC for $4 billion. WAMU and JP come together. Airlines are starting to purchase one another. What I'm getting at is this. At the top or bottom of any major market, you find the big mergers begin to take place. It's always that way. Go and do your homework on this. I lived through it, so I don't even have to go back and check. I know that that's what happens. The big mergers begin to take place. Huge conglomerates buy other ones and swallow them up. And that is almost always right before the trading turn comes. I'm not saying tomorrow we're going to get bullish. I think this is the year that the S&P and the stock market starts to make its turnaround. Remember, what the Fed does doesn't take effect for quite some time. The Fed has been lowering rates for quite some time now. So another 8, maybe 6 to 8, 9 months out, we may start to get our trading turn. You know what, traders? Capitulation is the second thing that you see at the top or bottom of a market. Capitulation, what is that? That's when you have a bear market that's been working its way down, has rallies, works its way down, has rallies, works its way down, and suddenly has a tailspin crash down week where it's going lower than anyone ever expected. Everyone in TV land's going, oh no, it's the end of the world, oh no, the price is going to go to zero. and you have your big smash down 500 point down day, and it stops there. That's capitulation. We're starting to get the mergers now. Keep your eyes out for capitulation. When can that happen? Well, October would be a great month for that to happen, right? Anyone who's lived through these ups and downs over the last 30 years, as I have, will tell you lots of that happens in October. Feb to March or October, those are the time frames where you get a lot of that to happen. I think Feb to March is a little too soon. No one knows for sure. So let's look out towards past the summer, maybe into the fall, early winter. Maybe that's where we'll get it. Maybe it won't even happen in 2008, but I'm starting to see the signals that would tell me get ready at some point this year for the big turn. So that's what I mean about market tops and bottoms. That is my experience to you traders. Take a look out, keep a lookout for it, keep your eyes open for it. It will come our way, and I think it will be this year. It's bold to say, but I also got in front of the camera about a year ago with a caterpillar in my hand and told you the grains were going through the roof, right? And that worked out.
Exactly a year ago. It's his birthday today.
Oh, today's Karnak's birthday? 1/12/08. It was 1/12/07 last year. All right, traders, imagine this. On this day last year, I made a major call for the grain markets. Now, on the same day this year, without realizing it, I am calling for the markets to run into a capitulation throughout this year. Just as I did with the grains, I said throughout the year we'd have the massive rally. I think we will get a market bottom sometime this year. Have fun with the downside. Stay with the downside for now. I will keep you informed when I think the turn is coming. All right, traders. Oh, boy. So we covered a lot of good stuff here. I did a lot of homework to make sure that this is as close to right as humanly possible if you're an analyst. So let's see if it works for you. As I always say, do your own homework. Traders, don't trade alone. Let me teach you how to even think about coming up with this sort of analysis. The easiest way to do that is come on down to our site. I'll repeat it again for you newcomers to my videos. It's www.livewithoscar.com. Don't trade alone, traders. We have hundreds and hundreds of traders there. They all come into the chat rooms together. They love hanging out with us. I lend out my desktop during the day and I hold classes. That's called the Gold Class Membership. If you grab a Gold Class Membership, you can come to my daily classes where I lend my desktop out to your computer. No matter where you are in the world, you're looking at my chart at my point in time when I'm moving indicators up and down and explaining how to use them. It is like a live textbook. It's like a textbook 3D. It opens up for you, and I will teach you many techniques to help you out. So make sure you come on down to the site and join us. There, I can tell you this, traders, whether you just learned to look at markets today and have no experience, or you are a very experienced trader, it is a very comfortable place to come to because in our chat rooms, no one will ever belittle you or bash you or say anything more than things that will help you educate yourself and learn these markets better. We police the site in every way, but you know what? We don't even have to. We have such a crowd of nice traders. You know what, traders? My OMNI said hand to you. I can't believe how nice you are to the newcomers, how helpful you are. No matter how much help they need, you seem to be right there to say, oh, let me show you this technique. Oscar showed us that technique. In a class 3 weeks ago, we learned this. Let us teach it to you. They make newcomers feel as welcome as an old veteran trader. So I can't thank you, traders, enough. Thank you so much for acting that way to all of our newcomers and to one another. There's a lot of respect at this site. Everybody respects each other. We all respect the OMNI Trading Academy, and we all respect technical analysis. That's what this whole thing is about. All right, traders, do me a favor and send me emails, send me comments, send me questions, and certainly send me your homework. Send me charts drawn up with analysis on there and a little paragraph of what you think that chart means, and I will certainly report back to you. I will do the analysis on the charts after you've done it, and I'll report back what I think in your analysis and of the chart you've shown me. You can send those emails to oscar@futuresanalysts.com. Also, we have 200, I'm going to ask you again, 257. He's counting this one, I think. We have 257 videos like this on YouTube waiting for you. So go and do your homework. Catch up to where we are. You can get to those videos simply going to www.youtube.com/futures analysts. When you get there, be sure to subscribe to those videos so you know the moment we put another one out. YouTube will let you know the moment you go on YouTube. Traders, we are here to help you bridge the gap from the days of old, from the days when you used to call the trading floors and you had your experts down there that would answer the phones and tell you what bank's buying what and who's buying what and who's selling and what it means, to the days of today where you got to pull that down off the newsreels and disseminate it for yourself. We are here to help you bridge that gap to the days of the electronic world where you sit alone and type on your computer. So make sure you come to the site and join us. The chat rooms are open. The premium chat room's there. We are here to help. Last but not least, I am a broker, traders. I would love to be your personal coach and mentor. Open up an account with me simply by coming to our site. Click on that wacky picture of me standing between the gold and silver bars on the right column. Is it the right or the left, guys? On the right column, there are some icons. You click on that picture. It will take you right through the links where you can open your account online. Okay, traders, I hope this helps you decide what you may or may not want to look at for this coming year. I certainly do believe in the fact that the softs and the meats are underpriced if you compare them to the rest of the commodities out there. Okay, traders, this is it. I'm going to get out of here soon, so you know what's coming next, right? You know what that is. Stops are in. Emotions are out.
Now, before I met Oscar, I thought that I knew something about trading. And I thought that I was good, and I thought that I was passionate. Now, there is a reason why Oscar is here. There is a reason why he is here. Aren't we always? Why are we here? We are here for lifestyle. Is it right? Isn't that what we talk all the time in the presentations? Freedom, physical freedom, emotional freedom. Now, if you can get a crazy guy like this doing all the work for you, why are you going to start to learn everything from zero? So I rather have an expert telling me what to do, where to buy it, that's all I need to know. I don't want to spend the amount of hours that he spends doing this. And I thought I loved trading. Now, this is insane. The amount of hours this guy spends in the market is insane, and the amount of years they have been. So just bear in mind, because I know there's quite a few people that are quite new. If you go through the whole course in minutes, you see that you can trade in minutes and lots of things. Yes, we focus on the index because it's pretty easy. Okay, so but now with the support of someone like Oscar, and he will tell us what's going on. Without him, I would never touch a commodity like wheat or soybean, anything. I would stick with index that very, very predictable. We spoke many times about this. But again, he does a lot of analysis and a lot of things. Doesn't mean that you have to do everything. You stick to what you feel comfortable. Okay? Okay, so thank you.
Okay, traders, and I do something like that just about every night, but I try to keep them short. They had to get the hook and get me off the stage on that, but that seemed simple enough, didn't it? It was kind of clear. I was only pointing out that many markets have more than doubled, and there are a few left that haven't. We try to keep analysis that simple every day. Now, these gentlemen at Live Matrix have put together a fantastic system, and I watched it and I thought, these guys really know what they're doing, and better than that, they really care. They care about everybody, so it seems. And I thought, I started my YouTube videos because I care about people, and I met them, and I thought that they kind of brought you along perfectly, right up to a spot where they sort of need a guy like me to take over next. So the best thing that you can do is follow with their program, and when you feel confident enough, you can come join our website that we've put together, and then we can take you forward from there. And we're working in conjunction with one another, so it's kind of you're with one group the whole time. Now at the site, there are some very interesting things that I would like to show you. I'll try to keep it simple for, well, it's actually all made to be very simple for everybody. I realized because I stood at a trading pit. You think I was excited there. I stood at a trading pit and I would trade 400 or 500 times in one day. Buy, sold, buy. You know, it was insane. And, you know, to get in front of that camera, it just gives me a little bit of life. So I've created an environment for people where we can all come together and I can ask and answer questions from thousands of people, all in chat rooms, without any sweat off my back. It's very simple for me because when I would trade 500-600 times a day, that was hard work. What I do now, I simply have to call markets as best as I can and teach others how to do it themselves. So with that, we decided we would start a website. The site was started, the YouTubes are free, the site was completely free. But you know, that didn't work because we reached a point where so many people began to follow us that when I would say, okay, we're going to buy here, traders tomorrow, we're going to sell it here, and here's where we're going to place our stop, suddenly 5, 8, 9,000 contracts will hit the market. And that's not good because then our crowd is becoming susceptible to a bigger firm hitting our stops. So we had to add a little price to the site, and it's very inexpensive, and the schooling that we offer would just really, really knock you over. I hold a class just about every day, and I mentioned it in that last video, and you know, we'll get to that in a moment. Let me take you through the steps. Each day, first you see the video, and we have sort of a system, and we sort of try to walk you through it. Let's say it's Monday night, you watch a video for Tuesday's trade. In that video, I will give you a good reason why we're looking to either buy or sell a market, where we're looking to buy it, where we're looking to sell it, and where you should place your protection. And when I talk about stops are in and emotions are out, if you knew exactly how much you would lose, but your profit potential was unlimited, that should pretty much keep you, if there is an emotion, it's exciting and a good emotion, but you shouldn't really have to worry about how much you're going to lose. And as the market ticks, your heart shouldn't be beating because you have what's called a sell stop in place. And you know that, okay, at most I'm going to lose $175, but I can make $300 today. That's not a bad risk-reward ratio, but the point is that your protection is in place like your insurance policy. So if you do trade and you place your stops, you have an insurance policy against how much you're going to lose, and you can stop losing at that level. So you do need to keep your emotions out, and we try to teach that every day. So the site starts off, you click on Daily OMNI Recommendations. After you've watched the video on YouTube, you would simply just click on the Daily OMNI Recommendation. Here you would find something that says, we are looking to buy the S&P at, let's say, 1410. We're going to place our sell stop at 1397, and we're going to take profit at 1426. Then, as the market actually hits that price, you keep watching the site, and here you'll get flash updates scrolling. And that would say something like, okay, traders, we have been filled. We are now long at 1410. Keep your stops in place. I will keep you informed. So you would place your orders, you place your stop. Then, if you would like, you can actually join our chat room. Now this is a very, very interesting place to be. You would just click on OMNI Chat. It would bring you to a spot where you can punch in your password. You go into a chat room. Let's go in and talk to the people in the chat room.
Hi guys, I'm in Australia.
There you go. Well, they all know that I've been on camera the whole time I was here. I've been taking everywhere right through this.
I know it's missing you.
Oh, you want to lower that? No, that's okay. Okay. Right now, there are only 23 people, but back home it's 4 in the morning. There's 23 people in there. If I go in and say hello, the chat room will go crazy. I'm in a chat room all day, like this one, and you can see them writing live as it's happening. Generally, I'll have a camera on, and there's a I can't turn this one on now, but there's a camera of me, so I'm on live camera, and I'm on live microphone, and I'm speaking back. If you type a question to me, I will answer it. I will actually answer that with you looking at me, you can hear me, so that everyone that asks a question or wants to know what we're going to do next, you can hear me, you can see me, and I can keep you calm throughout the day. So what you would do is you would look at the video, you would place your orders, and you jump in the chat room. Now, you're in a community with us. Better than that, throughout the day, we have what's called our Gold Class membership. We're all in the chat room during the day. You're watching the markets tick. You know, you're looking at your charts. You're looking at market tickers. You have your order in. We're keeping you at bay. We know what's going on in the markets. About, I guess, 1 p.m. Eastern every day, I do what's called my class, my Gold Class. I actually lend my desktop out, where if your computer, you have your computer, I give you an access code, you type it in, and what's on my computer now goes to your computer. You can see the charts. I'm standing there, the camera's pointed right at me, and a microphone, and I start telling you, like I just did in that video, but live, how to use the chart, what's happening right at this moment in time. It's got nothing to do with what happened last year or what we think might happen. This is what's happening, traders, right here, right now, and I teach you technique after technique, how to use indicators, how to use averages, what they mean, what they did for us yesterday, the day before, or I'll bring up a chart and I'll say, okay, traders, look at this. This is the ADX indicator. On this date, the ADX indicator crossed this way and we had a buy. And then again, it crossed this way and we had a buy. And it crossed again 3 days later and we had a buy. Well, it's crossing like this right now. What do you think is going to happen next? It's going to be a buy. I make it that simple for everybody every day. And I have been doing this since 1982 like a lunatic about it, so to speak. I have done analysis every morning, every evening, in my sleep, while I'm showering. There is a computer on, and I'm looking at it through the glass door, and I'm doing technical analysis at all times. And I have reached the point where I can really teach you how to make this work for you. So now you've gotten up in the morning. I don't know what you've done before. You might have, before you end up joining my site, but now you're going to get up, you're going to watch a video that's going to help you figure out what's going to happen. You're going to do your own homework based on what we've taught you, and you're going to decide if you like that trade recommendation yourself. You place your orders, you come into a chat room, you spend the whole day in the chat room, and then you get a class. Then after the class, we're still trading together, so you have all of that going on every day to help you out. After that, you can take a look at the trading forums. If you'd like to go even further with your education, in these trading forums, there are hundreds and hundreds of questions and answers that happen all day, every day. If you don't want to chat live with people, or if you have a wife and a job like most people do, and you're not in these chat rooms all day, you can go into the forums and you can find, like, I'll just click on a random, whatever comes up, comes up. People will type questions, I'll go in there and give answers. Others will come in that can answer those questions and will. So you can actually further your education by going into the forums and asking questions and receiving answers. Now, under each category, it gets deeper and deeper. There are thousands of questions and answers. Anything that you can think of, you can find in these forums. And then if you see something that catches your interest, and let's just see what's in this forum here. Somebody talks about $90 crude or $900 gold. If that's something that of interest to you, you go into that category and you'll find questions and answers will come up, and you can just simply type, boom, boom, boom. You can type your answer to the question, or you can ask another question and wait for an answer. Now, what we would normally do with this is we have something that we like to give. We issue what's called OMNI bucks. Now here, time for a new poll, $150 crude or $1,500 gold, because a week after somebody wrote that, gold went over 900 and crude went to over 90. So, you know, there's just lots of really interesting stuff in there for you. And I am in here all the time answering questions. If you see this symbol and you see my name, that's me. So I'm there to further educate you. If at night you think of something, and you'll find me in the chat room anyway, but if for some reason I'm not there, you can leave a question there. I get an email that you've left that question. So it's all about education, and it's all about helping you in the simplest form I possibly can. And you know what, traders, like I showed you in that video, it's not very difficult, it's just how you look at it. And when you have somebody who's been doing it as long as I have coaching you, I certainly will make it simple for you. I think what we have found, and we literally have stacks of testimonials, we have people from all over the world that have joined us and have told us things like this. On our homepage, every time you reach the homepage, you will find a new testimonial. They're random, they just come in, people type them, they go to the site. This one says, thanks, you are amazing, I got weed at 50075. If you refresh it, there'll be something else. There are people all over the world that have come to us and said, I have been trading for most of my life, I've been a losing trader for most of my life, and I've learned more in 8 days than I have learned in all the trading I've done. And we are there to help these people every day, and we are here to help you. There are educational spots where if you don't know the codes to your commodities, if you don't know what hours they trade, if you don't know the margins, you click on the education and it'll go right to a spot where you can look at that. You can join the gold class membership. There's a premium room, which is even more exciting because you could be in that chat room that you hear ticking in the background right now. but I also have a premium room at the same time, and those are traders that have trading accounts with me. If you open up a trading account with my firm, you're a VIP member, and you're in the premium trading room. Now, if I give a trading recommendation comes up, I look right in the microphone, I look at the camera, I grab the microphone, and I say, traders in my premium room, get in right here. Then I have to type that. We're going to get in at this level, you have to put your stops here. I hit send, it uploads to the site sends out emails. The other traders get the email, realize I had said something, go to the site, and then find out what we're going to do. So if you're in the premium room, you get it like that. Although, I must say, whether you're in the premium room or not, you get it relatively quickly. But there are times that if you're not in the premium room, by the time, this S&P moves like crazy. So if you're not in the premium room, there are times where instead of selling the high that we're trying to sell, you have to get it a few dollars lower. So there are all levels that we can help you out with. And then we have different trading platforms, analysis platforms, that we can offer to you for 2 and 3 free-week trials. Metastock is a month free trial. It's probably the best program I've ever used in my life. I've been using it since I'm 18 years old. It is by far one of the best analytical programs I've ever found. You can download each of these programs, and they're free, and you can learn how to use them. And the nice thing about my classes that I hold is that I actually use those very same programs when I lend out my desktop, so you learn them, whether you know them or not, whether you even want to learn them or not. I do this every day, and you'll learn right away what I do, and you can replicate it for yourselves. So there's a lot of good stuff here at the site for you. It's all part of the system that we have for, educating you traders. And I think what they have put together, they want you to have a healthy body and a healthy mind. And if you have those two things, you are 2/3 of the way where you need to be a good analyst. So it's such a great start that they'll give you that we can really take you to the next level. I assure you traders, I can show you techniques that are simple, you can do yourself the next day, and you will scratch your head and say, there is no way that I could have called it that easily. Believe me, with the help of these guys and what we can do for you, you have found the right place. Is there anything that anybody would like to ask any questions?
What time frame that people really begin as a trader? What time can they achieve to become a successful trader or acting like paper trading before they go into the real account?
Well, I would say, if you're going to paper trade to the point that you can successfully place orders without making errors, and that you can actually do a little bit of analysis first and come up with your own idea, and then paper trade that idea. Whether it wins or loses is something that you probably have to do with real money. Paper trading is a great thing, but everyone wins when they paper trade. Are there any paper traders in here? Anybody? How good are you at paper trading? Right? Wait till you apply your money, you will find a complete difference in your trading. But I will certainly help you to do better. So paper trading only works for a certain amount of time, and then you actually have to step your feet in the water there and start trading. But I would say, give it a couple of months, unless you have some prior experience, then literally jump in these chat rooms and wait for me to make calls for you after you've done your homework and you agree with my call. Try it out for yourselves. But I have kind of made it where if you're a new trader and you've only paper traded for 2 weeks, you can get involved with us in these chat rooms and come to our site. We can show you how to survive through this. But traders, remember, you have to learn to crawl before you learn to walk. And by learning to crawl is learning how to read the charts a little bit, learning how to place the orders, get in, get out without making errors, and then you'll learn to walk. And by walking, now you're actually opening up the trading account, and maybe you're putting a trade on and taking it off. And sooner or later you'll be able to walk briskly, and then one day you'll be running. But you have to take, like a baby, you have to take baby steps. There is no easy way to do this. I've been trading for almost 27 years, and I'm not good at it yet. No one ever gets great at it, but you practice every day, and you'll find I haven't worked for anybody, I guess since I'm 19, 20 years old. Trading is how I've made my living my entire life. It was not an easy game, and I've had my losing years like anybody else does, but if you work at this, I assure you that you can pay for your lifestyle or at least supplement your income and upgrade your lifestyles doing this.
So how many hours, how many hours you'll have to spend on, depending on how much you want to make money? Is it?
No, not quite. Depends on, well, I spend about 23 hours a day. If you ask these guys, I'm lying about that. Maybe 22 hours a day, 24. The S&P opens up on Eastern time zone. I'm going to give you New York time. The S&P opens up at 4:30 and closes at 4:15 the next day. Stops for 15 minutes and opens up again. If you really want to be good, you'll practice that. When those markets are open, you need to be paying attention. But really, if you put in an hour's practice every day, you'll find that you'll get good in a relatively short time.
So when you talk about being online with you, that's a bit tricky for us in Australia. Does that mean we have to be awake? Yeah.
Here's the nice thing about it. When you're asleep, I'm in that chat room with everybody, and when you get up, you'll find me in that chat room as well. I am there as many hours as I possibly can be every day. But an answer to that, many people have said that, these markets will not revolve around our sleeping habits. They could care less about human sleeping habits. They will move where they're going to move, and they don't care if you're in bed or not. So the best thing that you can do is pay attention as often as you can. I stay up almost every night because I know that 3 or 4 in the morning Eastern New York time, those markets move. And I'm up to make sure, and I don't have to stay awake the whole time unless I want to, and neither do you, but it certainly wouldn't hurt when you do get up for a glass of water or you have to use the men's or ladies' room. Take a look at the markets and see where they are. Another good thing is this. You'll get an email from me, if you're a part of our system here, you will get an email from me 2 in the morning, 4 in the morning, 6 in the afternoon. At any time something's happening, you'll get an email from me. And what we tell people is there's a free email service called Gmail. If you get Gmail, you get the Gmail notifier and it has an audio alert. It'll say, you've got mail. Take a look. You wake up, you go, hey, I got mail, let's see what Oscar's doing. And then you can place an order and go right back to sleep because your stops are in. Right? If your stops are in, you can go back to sleep. You don't have to be emotional about it. So you do have to kind of, markets are the rules.
I'm getting the impression that you've been hooked onto the screen. If the screen turns fast, and you're not going to have time to go back to sleep and find your.
Well, you know, not every day or night do they move quickly. Some nights they sit around and do nothing all night. The next day they move quickly. My point is that they're always moving. They're always awake. So as often as you can watch it. But understand that it's not impossible because there wouldn't be millions of people around the world doing it. So it is absolutely possible. And I've found that your time zone is absolutely suited for me because I'm up all night and during the day it's daylight. And you know, it's sort of when the markets are closed for a little while. So I don't get it. I would love living here. I think the time zone is great. I do understand that you do need your sleep, and that's what we're here for. If you could at least get up when you hear your email, you can stay in tune with the trades that take place during that part of the day.
Can you just about 5 minutes break so people can go to the toilet?
Oh, absolutely.
Just 5 minutes break, guys, and then we keep going. Okay, 5 minutes break.
At this point, I am on my latest, sometimes I get on these hot streaks, I'm on about a 35-day winning streak. That is every day, for about 35 days in a row. And to be honest, forget about finding systems out there that'll do that. It's almost not human. It's something that you shouldn't be able to do. But with the advent these days of the electronic trading and all the analysts out there that are learning to do this, it seems to be working. Technical analysis now works better than I've ever seen in my 26 years of trading. It is so much better now. I assure you that if you learn just a few simple techniques, you may be able to make calls like the one that you're going to see in this next video. Now, these videos I do every night, some of them get to be a little silly, but they're silly in the beginning, but then I absolutely am very, very serious about the content that's in this one. So I'm going to show you the latest video I did when I came to town. I've done 4 of them since we've been here. And this is the latest one that we've done. The purpose behind it is the recommendation that I had mentioned in the video, and then what happens next. So if you'll hit the lights for me, please.
Result in substantial financial loss.
I'm coming out of the bush. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, traders from across the globe, and welcome to Short Term Trading Live with Oscar. We are broadcasting to you live from the bush We are in Australia right now, and I had to wrestle some things to get the Omni. I was deep in the bush to get this Omni, traders. I had to wrestle an alligator. He went at me. He almost ripped my fingers off. Look at this thing. I had to wrestle the alligator. There was a wild giraffe. He's going nuts. He almost bit my head off, but you know what? I was able to come up with something for tonight, and I came out of the bush with an Omni, traders, and I want to tell you right now, I think it's going to be a green Omni. We're looking at the possibility of buying some S&P for tomorrow, traders. I am going to buy a dip. I'll tell you right now, I think that the S&P is going to pull back into the low to mid 1280s, and I'm going to get long right there. I'm going to put my stop in a sensible place. As I tell you all the time, always put your stop in a sensible place. Take a look at your account size. See what you can sleep with at night, but you're going to need a big stop for this one, traders. I'll tell you right now, because when it does pull down, it's going to get vicious down there. Whoa, he's coming at me again. This giraffe, I'm going to have to wrestle him. But I'll tell you what, it doesn't matter if I'm wrestling giraffes or alligators, because I came out with a trade, and I think we're going to be all right on this one. It is definitely scary to be buying in this environment, and I am not becoming a bullish trader, but I think we're going to get a little bit of a pop tomorrow, and here's how we're going to take advantage of it. When it does pull back into around the mid to low 1280s, we're going to get long, and if we're right, you're going to be able to kick this thing out in the mid to high 1330s. So take a look at that trade, traders. Do your homework, as I tell you. Always do your homework first. Make sure you don't get bit by any wild giraffes. Do your homework first. Make sure you agree with my trade, and if your trade agrees with my trade, then take a look at possibly buying it on this dip. If, in fact, we get stopped out and it continues down, it is only Wednesday, we got the whole rest of the week, and then we'll likely have a major down week. So we'll have a scope on how to do this anyway, so be brave about it. Get your orders in, put your stop where it belongs. If you don't know where to place a stop, just come on down to my site. It's www.livewithoscar.com. Make sure you don't trade alone. We will help you. We'll tell you where the stop should go, and we'll tell you what to look for out there. So come on down to our site. Make sure that you do your homework. I can't say this enough, traders. Do your homework on this trade. We are in a very, very volatile market here. And when it's this volatile, you get big swings down and big swings back up. And I think that's what's going to happen tomorrow. The market is currently at about 1295. So take a look at the orders, take a look at the charts, and put your orders in. All right, traders, I'm not going to do too much from here. I hope to bring you a whole lot more video from the bush. Hopefully, we'll have some more wild giraffes. Maybe we'll even get an elephant out of this place. Who knows? I know one thing. I got my sword with me. I got my boots on. I don't know if you can see them, but we got these boots, and we're ready to rock and roll here, traders. Don't forget, traders, always, always say this to yourself. Say it every day. Say it every evening. It will absolutely help you with your trading. It'll keep the emotions back. If you don't keep your emotions down, you will make very, very bad trading decisions. And you know what that is? Stops are in. Emotions are out.
We've had a 42-day winning streak. Yes, we are going to lose, traders. Losing is an integral part of trading. You cannot trade without losing. But if you get it, if you study your analysis correctly, you can get into a trading groove and you can make decent calls almost every day. And what's nice about the whole environment that we're creating for you is that you're not alone. You're going to do your analysis, and you're going to use our analysis as an indicator to see whether you have chosen the direction for the day correctly. Now, I don't know if you've been to other seminars, if you've gone to other places. How many people have paid for programs that have done absolutely nothing for them? By a show of hands, I'm sure maybe there are people who don't even want to mention it. I've gone to into some auditoriums, and I've asked that question, and I've heard the horror stories I mentioned before, and that's because, as I've said in my video, there is no holy grail, traders. There is no system out there that's going to help you. It's within yourselves, and we can bring that out for you. Let me show you one more thing. There are about four different levels at my site that you can participate in, and none of them are expensive because it's geared to help you. If you are at the home page, click on this icon right here to the right. You can simply click on a gold class membership or any of the memberships that are here. And what you'll find is the different levels that you can join our services at. There's a copper membership, which is absolutely free. It costs you nothing. If you come to the training site, you put in your password, username, and email, and you now can come into our chat rooms without having spent a dime. And maybe that's where you want to possibly begin, just to see if you like trading for yourselves. In there you will get an OMNI recommendation, but the OMNI recommendation is not going to tell you exactly where to buy and sell, and it's not going to give you a stop. It's going to say, here's an area where we will trade on the short side, here's an area where we'd like to buy, and and we're not going to offer a stop, because if we give it to everybody, then our crowd again becomes in jeopardy of the world knowing where our stops are. There is a 1995 silver membership, which now gets you into the chat room, and you get a detailed OMNI and real-time flash updates. The copper membership gives you about a 15-minute or 20-minute delayed flash update. And in this game, 20 minutes after the fact that we put out a recommendation is a lifetime. So if you're doing your own homework and you're not sure if you want to be a trader, you join the copper membership just to gauge what we're doing. If you are a bit more serious, and you really wouldn't be here unless you were, you would join the silver membership. But with the silver membership, you're not going to participate in our classes every day. And to be honest, about the best membership you can buy here, unless you want to jump into the premium room, is the $99 a month gold class membership. That gets you into the classroom every day where we can teach you the analysis, and that by far is the best thing you can possibly do for yourselves, in my opinion. I know because I teach the things that I'm actually going to use each and every day. That same day I'm teaching you what I'm actually going to use to trade. You sat in my office the other day, you've seen some of the stuff, you were there, you saw some action yesterday. Pretty good, right? We were right on target. We helped everybody get in and out of the markets. We explained, let's go in right here, let's get out. You haven't participated in any classes, have you?
No.
Ned, you've been in any classes? You have?
Yeah.
What's your opinion of the classes that we hold?
Yeah, no, it's yeah, they're great. Yeah, just with the glance, seeing everything that you're seeing, seeing how you came up with those videos that you're saying, seeing the way you came up with them.
And I must say, I don't hold back at all on my analysis and the knowledge I have. And how often in life are you going to get to look over the shoulder of a 26-year veteran trader who will share his knowledge with you? So if you come to the class every day, I assure you that you will be a much better trader than a lot of the people that you know. Then of course, for $3.95 a month, you can be in the premium room, and that's where I can really give more benefit to you than anywhere else, because when I'm about to trade, immediately for myself, everybody in that room gets to know at that split second in time. If you open a trading account with us, there are no fees. Everything at our site is absolutely free. You open up the trading account, you are grandfathered into all of it, and you are in the premium room. And that is the place where, if you are a beginning trader, or I have 80, 100 lot S&P shooters in there. Imagine shooting 80 or 100 lots. There are people like that in the premium room, and there are people just like you who join every day that know nothing, and you can't imagine how. I have testimonials that come to me and say, Oscar, I don't know what I'm going to do now. I can't trade anymore without this site. What are we going to do without your site? And it'll always be here, because I will be trading every day to pay for my children, so you get privileged to be there with me. And I think that of all the places I've ever gone to look for education on my way up, no one's ever even come close to being as open as I am with my recommendations and with the knowledge that I'm willing to share. So probably the best thing that you would do is open up a trading account and just come in and get your feet wet. There will actually be some sort of a minimum. You can't just open a trading account with us and then sit there and not trade, because there are some traders that will open up a trading account and then go find themselves a little $2 discount broker and think that they can sit in our room and go trade elsewhere. There's absolutely going to be a minimum trade just to keep you interested. And more or less, that's just to get your feet wet, because if you're going to come in there and be afraid, you're sort of treading water, and you should learn to swim. So make sure that if you're serious about this, you open your account and you come join us. And what you'll find is when you don't trade, you'll go, well, I wish I was in that one, because we usually can catch this right. I
So
think that's,
how many trades where you say minimum? What's the minimum per month? Any trades?
you know, I usually
If you're a
start.
newcomer, you might as well be jumping into it. You got to do a few trades.
The beauty of what I do is, opposed to trying to teach you to trade 2, 3, 5, 9 times a day, I trade once, sometimes twice a day. And you're talking about a guy who used to trade that many times in a minute and a half. I trade once or twice a day. On a really, really hectic day, I might get 3 trades done. So what you'll find is it won't really cost you anything to be in there. You'll spend a few dollars in commission like everyone else does, but if I find that there's anyone trying to jump in and out, I stop them and I teach them. And how often will you find the broker that says, no, don't trade. No, 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 don't trade right now. And I do that for all of our customers. At all times, I try to stop them from trading unless we're at the proper point in time. And what we try to look for is the trading turn. The market moves up to a certain area where it's going to stop. We try to get in up there. It moves back down. We try to get out. Then our job is done. There's no need to do this and that. Get in, get out, get in, get out. I don't think that that's possible, traders. It's not a zero-sum game. It's not just one winner for every loser. It's not 50-50. The odds can be much greater against you if you're trying to win constantly. That's not possible in my opinion. So I stop people from doing that, and I try to convince them to trade very little, but at least once or twice a day on the days where the market sets up.
How much is your trading platform?
The trading platforms are absolutely free. We give them out for free to any, you get a 2-week free trial. If you open up a trading account, you get 2 types of platforms. You get one called the OMNI, which I've helped develop, which is the exact same analysis platform that I use during my classes every day. So you can mimic the same things that I'm teaching you throughout the day. So you get that for no charge, and you also get the dormant platform, which is where you'll place your orders, and that is in real time as well, and it is free of charge. Again, we're not looking to nickel and dime people. We're looking to actually teach people how to make money. We're looking to help people, just like these guys behind you.
But to buy and sell a trade, how much do you charge?
We charge for the full gamut of our schooling. It's a $50 round term. Which you're in a class with me, I'm telling you where to get in, I'm telling you where to get out, I'm teaching you every day, and you have telephone access to me. And believe me, I am nowhere near too busy to not take your phone calls. So if you don't want to talk to me in the chat room, you can actually call me and I will act as your personal trading coach and mentor. You guys know that.
And can you do that like for, let's say, a 7-day or 1-month trial, or is there a kind of a minimum, if you were to get in on the trading platform?
When you say trading platform, do you mean?
Like if you were to join the trading platform,
right?
And you're to give it a go, is there a certain time commitment or?
None whatsoever. You come in, get warmed up to what we're doing, you'll get acclimated to what's going on. When you come to my site and you open up an account, I'm not there trying to say, how come you're not trading right now? I don't say anything to people on that note. Nobody will ever try to force you to do anything. We just want you to participate and learn how to do this for yourself. So there is no limit.
So you say it's $50 per trade in and out?
Right. Round turn. That is for the complete schooling. There are other levels of brokerage that we can offer, but then you're not part of the classes every day, which you really should be.
So is that being covered? That's very I understand the rules taken into account, but is it being covered by the trade?
If you bought the S&P at 1282.5 or even 1287, if you waited $5 and sold at 1318, you're covered for 3 or 4 months. Oh yes, absolutely. There's charting, there's analysis techniques, Gann angles, and any of the things that you've read in books, we have in our trading platforms.
If you're doing 2 or 3 trades a day, it's $50 each trade?
Yes, it is.
Okay, and to actually open up an account, how much money are you putting in to open up straight away?
Here's a simple answer to that. If you had $100,000 to put in your trading account, you absolutely should. There are traders that say, I have $100,000 in the bank and I'm going to put $5,000 a month in my account if I need it. And what you do to yourselves, if you do that, well, let me step back. If you have $5,000, you should put that $5,000 in. If you can afford to lose it, no one should ever trade with money that they can't afford to lose. In other words, if you put a certain amount of money in your trading account, it's going to make you hang yourself from the tree out in the yard if you lose it, you shouldn't be putting it in your trading account. But the minimum's 5,000. But my point before was I have had traders that would say, I have 100,000 in the bank, and I'm going to put 5,000 in the account, I'm going to trade, and if I lose it, I'll put 5 more in. And you're putting yourself under pressure when you do that. And this game, there's a lot of mentality behind trading. If you put yourself under pressure, you will find that you'll make terrible decisions and you had enough money to back yourself. So my answer is the most you can afford to put in is what you should put in your trading.
If you start with 5,000 and you do a trade, you trade one contract.
Yes.
If you happen to lose on that contract, do you need to beef up that account to always at a minimum of 5,000?
No, but the minimum to open the account is 5,000.
Okay.
And there's no pressure to force you to trade. There's no pressure to ask you to put more in your account. If you lose your money and you want to continue, then of course that's your choice to do so.
What is the margin on one contract?
Exchange minimum margins are $5,000 per contract. We offer a 25% margin. You're looking at $1,000 to $1,200. It's very inexpensive.
What kind of hardware platform would be required on the hardware side?
On the hardware side, just about any computer that you buy today, these programs will work with.
And it's platforms that are better.
Well, of course, the more memory you have, the better off you are. Well, I work with 6 screens around me, and I'm having 6 more added, so I have 12. Some people work with 2. 2 are adequate. One is adequate. 2 is better. Anything more than that is just makes your life easier.
Multiple screens.
Well, this laptop will take 2 screens. Any computer will take minimum 2 screens. And all you need to do is buy an extra card if you want more screens. But the software will go on 15 screens if that's what you have.
So are you saying, how many trades will we execute your account?
If we notice that you're not participating, we would ask you to step up and participate. We don't really put a minimum trades. Nobody will force you to trade. You can sit there the whole week without trading at all. If you spend month after month not trading, then, of course, somebody will mention it to you, but no one's going to force you to trade. That's not what we do.
You talk about homework, that could you explain that? Because I don't understand what's complete when you say homework.
When I say homework, that's where you should look at a market, decide whether you would like to participate in that market, and then bring up a chart, a point chart, or a point and figure chart, a bar chart, a candlestick chart, whatever charts that you like to study from. You bring that chart up, you draw some trend lines, you take some of the techniques I teach in my class every day, and you put your indicators out, and you see it, well, the indicator's turning here, and the last time I seen it turn, it went up. This time it's turning, I think it may go up, and that's what I mean by doing homework. It's studying and practicing the charts. When you were in school, everybody did homework each day, right? You have no choice. What you learned at school, the teacher gave you a little homework, and that reinforced what you... So I don't issue homework, so to speak. Sometimes I'll do. Most times I won't issue the homework. That's up to you to make sure that you've studied the chart before you put a trade on.
But when you're telling us, or giving us suggestions of the trades that we should be doing, how can we do homework on that? Because that's not happening. Are you meaning that we should look at charts throughout the year or throughout the week or?
You should look at charts every day, but you put up a daily chart, minimum is daily, that shows you what's happened for the last 6 to 8 months. Right. Sure, because a contract, a commodities contract starts its life, it trades for about a year, and then it rolls from like March to June, then that contract trades for a year. So if you put up a daily bar, you can see what's happened over the last year, and you can sort of gauge with relatively decent accuracy what's going to happen next.
You have a terminology of language. When I listen to your the YouTube, the pick of the day, you're using a lot of words that most people not comprehend just yet in the terminology.
Well, there's not really all that much terminology that you won't be familiar with within a week or two of staying around the site, because again, I do realize that there are newcomers that know nothing about it, so I keep it as simple as possible. But my terminology is sort of limited to bar chart, stochastic indicator, how many points we've made or lost, which market we're going to get in, and those are things that you would have to know in order to trade anyway. So, we're not you know, we're not breaking out the books and trying to make ourselves sound like we're geniuses for you. I'm on the same level as you traders. There are no traders that know better than the next.
So just to cover this what you said, don't forget that once a month we have our own workshops, and we always cover things for beginners on our workshops, always.
Their workshop we take from there, and it's an ongoing workshop every day. But absolutely, you will get a great fundamental, a base of the knowledge that you need to know right from these guys here.
Just wondering what the difference is between a limited daily trading recommendation and a detailed.
A limited daily trading recommendation is something that says we are looking to sell S&P in the mid to high 20s, and we're looking to buy it in the mid to low teens. A more detailed recommendation is sell the market at 14.21, buy it back at 14.16. So that would be your difference. We give you an exact pinpointed spot.
Do you give an approximate time that these things will happen, or you just have to sit there?
Could you imagine if I actually knew exactly what time these trades would take place? Nobody could do that. If you find someone I can, please let me know, because I'll let them call my trades.
Okay, just let's get another 2 or 3 questions, because the noise is starting downstairs. They're partying on already, so in another few minutes it will be possible to be here.
About a minute or two, we're going to make some noise ourselves.
To be finished here, so it's already 10 o'clock. So let's take another couple of questions. There is another couple of questions there. Another question? Someone got another question? No?
Are we done? Traders, there's one thing that I would ask you to say, and I do this in all my videos, and I ask everybody to say this every day because I do it myself, and people have told me from all over the world it has helped them mentally be able to deal with these markets. And you know what that is? Everybody can do it with me here. Stop soaring! Emotions out!
I just want to say thank you very much. I don't know if you know, but he flew for 1 week just for us. Wow. Because in November I wanted to see him. So it is a very, very long flight, and I really appreciate he taking the time to come and spend 1 week. I hope this show to all of you the level of commitment that we have with our business.
Absolutely.
So we are here in Australia, where you know people don't give a shit about us. We are too far away from everyone. We are a small market for everyone. When it comes to excuse, everyone has got a good excuse why they don't come to Australia. So what we did, okay, we want the best for our members. So we don't save money. We flew to America. I spent 3 days in Vegas with him to get to know him. I spent 3 days in his trading room, because what did I say very often? In this market, unfortunately, there is a lot of bullshit artists. You know, people that talk, and no one trades. So I was there, and I said, he gave me assets. 2 days ago, I saw his trading platform, and I can see his account. How many contracts he put on 3 things. So we are committed to find and to bring to you the best. And the best we had to go to get him on. He was in New York until he moved just a few weeks before I arrived in America. He moved from New York, so he's been the whole life in Wall Street. He moved to Vegas. So we went to Wall Street where the best guys are, and I believe we got the best for you. And we brought him here. So we spent thousands and thousands of dollars to make this happen. Who would charge you just $15 and offer you a coffee to bring a gun like this here? So I hope that this shows what we have, what we wish to a life matrix. We wanted the best for all of you, and we will never measure anything, we will never save any money, and we will never save any effort to go around the world and bring to you whatever best we can have to help you to improve your lifestyle. Okay, so thank you very much for coming here on Friday.
One last thing to answer your question. When you mentioned that brokerage seems a little high, I have people from all over the world that have said, Oscar, I was paying $3 brokerage, I would pay you $100 if I could keep coming to your Saturday.
I think this is
It is, oh, you can't believe it. It is so much geared to help you traders. You will love it when you saw this. And you already see what these guys have to offer. It's just the next step after what they do for you.
And one of the reasons why, because I got some people asking me exactly why we did all this. There is something that is very important as well, that Wayne and I, Karen, people that are working with Allied Matrix, we want to focus in growing the business for you in all the other levels. So that's why it was so important to bring someone with much more experience than we have in trading. Okay? If you know Wayne a little bit well, we know that his family, if you have ever heard about his dad, has been trading for many, many years. So we come from a trading level industry as well, but there is nothing compared to what we've got here. And because we want to focus on developing a live matrix for everyone, we need someone to help us with the trading part. And that's exactly why he's standing here today. Okay? Beautiful. Yeah.
Futures trading is risky and can cause substantial financial loss. We do not claim or guarantee that you will profit from the information provided. That being said, I am a 24-year seasoned trader on and off the floors. This is how I've made my living for many, many years. Good luck trading.